So I've said before that I think the live action remakes of classic Disney movies is just not needed. I don't think there's any reason for it. I think that it's just a way of keeping the IP running, keeping it fresh in people's minds, giving them something else to buy and something else to stream and pay for. I don't think there is actually any more benefit to it than that. And I think that the fact that they've had so many disasters with these movies shows that. I mean, Snow White at the moment is having all kinds of problems for many different reasons. And that's The Little Mermaid did very badly, and Pinocchio didn't do very well either. And Disney have revealed that it cost £155 million to make this movie. Now, you had Tom Hanks in it. You had some very good visual effects. I will give it that. It was a very good visual effects, and you would think that you know added to the fact that Robert Zemeckis actually directed this movie, you'd think it would have a lot more than it did. But it didn't do very well in the box office. It went straight into Disney Plus. It didn't do very well, and from critics or from fans, shall we say, it didn't do very well at all. 22 movie stars Tom Hanks as Geppetto, the toy maker who creates an enchanted puppet. He was given the green light under Disney's chief executive Bob Iger and was released on Disney Plus streaming platform as part of a content drive designed to boost subscriber numbers, but it didn't have much magic. Audience gave the movie a score of just 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, whilst critics weren't much more complimentary. The consensus was it was visually dazzling but soulless, with its score coming to 28%. It was a big disaster. But they haven't learnt from it. They then went ahead and they're still trying to go ahead with Snow White. And I think that the problem is people just don't want these movies. They don't want live action versions of these classic movies. Someone else said, who was it? I can't remember who it was now, but another YouTuber said that what they should perhaps try to do is a 3D animation version, something like like the Shrek movies, something like that kind of digital animation. Do digital animation versions of them. In that way, that might have more of a pull for the audience than a live action remake, because most of them they've added their own little spin, shall we say, to the proceedings, and they've changed characters and changed things like that. And I think that a lot of that is one of the reasons why it hasn't worked for them, but also the fact that nobody's asking for these movies. And I think that's the biggest problem that there is. There may be no strings on this Pinocchio, but there isn't much of a heart in him either. That's what Variety said. Empire said it's all a bit flat and feels like an exercise that exists because it can. This is perhaps no exaggeration. And I just think that this is the reason why Disney is starting to have so many problems, or has done for many years actually. And that's because it's just having issues with picking the right content, picking the right movies that people want to watch. And if they do choose something, then they just ruin it by not giving the public what they want. And that is the biggest issue. They think they know what the public want, but in most of the cases recently, they just haven't got a clue. And while it might appeal to a certain area of the audience, it doesn't appeal to the actual part of the audience that are the biggest part, and also the part that are going to spend the most money. Look at the Acolyte, for example. I mean, I think that's got a Rotten Tomatoes score on the audience score about 14% at the moment. That's doing absolutely abysmally. So it goes on to say, Bambi, Peter Pan, and Winnie the Pooh have already fallen into the public domain, leading to a spate of copycat productions, including the horror flick Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Disney's live-action remakes reset the clock to the present day, which could explain why the puppet in the remake is a digital doppelganger of its cartoon counterpart from the 1940s original, but it came at quite a cost. And yeah, this is the reason why they're doing it, because they want to continue the IP. But the problem is that they're spending a huge amount of money on these movies, and they're not getting much back in return. So I don't know whether is it worth it. And let me know down in the comment section what you think, if what you thought of Pinocchio for a start, and also what you think about live action remakes at Disney in general. Do you like them, or have you liked them? Do you think they're a good idea, or do you think there is an alternative that they should use? And if you think you know of an alternative that might work, let me know down in the comment section as well. And don't forget to subscribe for more news from pop culture.